Okay, we might be live. I did not bring in, obviously, every boot ever or whatever. The ones that are the most similar to this particular model would likely be the Wolverine 1,000 mile, but those are boxed up in a cupboard somewhere. So I did bring in the Thursday President, which is kind of similar, but not quite. But this is a strictly service style boot. And then the other kind of comparable one might be the Nyx Urban Logger, which of course I don't own. So the nearest thing I have to that is the Thursday Challenger boot. But this has the toe cap and not the same shape toe and all that. But it is a 6-inch boot with a pull tab and with the extra arch support, although it won't have the same exact arch support. I went into that in the other Challenger videos and comparison videos and things. It also has the different tread style and the more logger style heel, but there's like 3 or 4 models that are kind of similar in the Nyx, though. There was the Prospector, the Robert, and I talked about the Robert in the previous video a little bit. Also, that was episode 349, which was to, try and explain to people that if they want to take advantage of the Father's Day sale, that might be your best chance to get boots before Christmas or maybe even Thanksgiving if they're backed up doing MTOs, made to order, what people call custom boots that aren't actually custom boots. And so these and the Robert and the Palisades was the other model I was looking at. If I wanted to go back and MTO one of those based on the fit of these was kind of the idea. So these were like the only ones in my size, or what should be my size, based on the 55 last, which again is the Builder Pro. So I don't know how different this last is from the Robert last or the Builder Pro last or anything else. Yada, yada, yada. So it can be a little tricky. It can be a little hit or miss. That's why I try to order some test boots. A typical cowboy boot, of course, will often have a higher heel than this, but instead of these from Nyx, I had gotten the Packer boots, and I had a different pair of, which are basically a Western style boot with a slightly different, that you can get it with a more traditional pointy toe and that kind of thing. But this type of heel instead of the logger heel, which either the Builder Pro or this one would have the logger heel. See, so we're not exactly looking for this, and I'm not exactly looking for this. So the 3, like I said, typically shorter models in height instead of, the 8s and the 10s. Although I think you can still get some of them in 8. Yada, yada, yada. So I didn't necessarily want 6-inch boots because, again, I already have a couple pairs of these. But that was kind of what was available, ready to ship for the discount. And then, of course, similarly, I have the whites, which are the combat cowboy semi-packer boots that Roseanneville helped design or whatever. But I already did like 3 videos about this. But long story short, of course, I wanted a black boot that I could wear more casually than this mega stomper. And I haven't worn these as much as I probably should have, just to break them in, because I was trying to keep them good in case I did want a black boot for some, certain occasion. And of course, the only occasion that's really come up so far was last Halloween when I wore them as part of a Han Solo costume, even though they're not, taller and they have laces. Nobody cared. I was able to tuck my pants into them and look enough like Han Solo that everybody thought I was awesome. Okay. But so these, yeah, again, obviously not a necessarily very dressy boot because they're made to be combat cowboy boots, and they were still, 3 years ago, more expensive than these ones. So like I said, I should have used them more by now. Get my money's worth, but they were super uncomfortable when I first got them, and you know, par for the course. Whereas the Nicks, again, and something like this had less of the dreaded break-in period. So I've had a little bit more luck with fit from Nicks than whites, as I've made like 2 or 3 videos about that already. So whites had only the next size up available for the sale price, and they were all MTOs. I didn't see anything ready to ship, but I do have the whites. I think these are the Cruiser. I don't know. There's another pair called the Cutter, where we have more of a block heel, a little bit less of the cowboy heel, but we do still have the arch support, even though it's not as tall. But here we have the lace to toe, which I kind of wanted the black in the lace to toe, because this, of course, being just a regular, you know, derby style, again, combat boot, basically. Not quite as snappy looking, I guess, or, you know, cute or whatever. A little more utility and run of the mill. I mean, like I said, pretty much every service boot in the world comes looking like that. Yes, I will be unboxing them any minute if you're impatient. But so I had gotten these for $600 or so secondhand, and they hadn't been used too much. But they're green, so they don't go with everything. And I'm not a excuse me, huge fan of black boots, but I do have quite a few pairs of brown ones already. So these came in Chrome XL, which also is not your typical kind of Nicks leather. I don't know if it's going to be as sturdy as, you know, the 1964 leather back there, or the mahogany. I don't know if this was also called 64 or not, but it but it's a thick, durable work leather. Chrome XL is technically a work leather, but it's a heritage, more kind of throwbacky work leather, I guess, if you're going to split hairs. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the tape to cooperate where those few little strings are being difficult. Okay, so here's the box, and I haven't opened it yet, and I haven't tried them on, so let me shuffle a couple things first so this will be easier. Oh, that was okay. Much easier. Okay, so inside we have the typical paper, packing paper. 1 and 2, flap, flap. And we have boot number 1. It feels like it has goodies inside of it. And boot number 2. So you can see we're dealing with basically an empty box now. No hidden surprises in the box, just an empty box. And packing paper. Okay. So boot number 1, no goodies. More of a big heel, I can see already. I'll put these back over. Compare them to those, I guess, the most. So yeah, I was a little worried that the leather might be a little too thin, and you can see there's quite a toe on here. That's why I was saying closer in style to the Wolverine, with that kind of squarish toe. Not necessarily the design I liked the best. I think I liked the look of the Palisades a little better, but again, they ain't on my side. And so we have 3 speed hooks and some eyes and a pretty big heel, and the same V-bar outsole as, again, I got on the Packer boot, except Western heel or whatever that difference is. So this one's Vibram in the bright yellow. This one's still Vibram. It's just cut off or upside down. I had it right the first time. Still double stitched down rows. still well, it's kind of a more motorcycle boot look than necessarily a combat boot or a Western boot. The toe looks a little long compared to where the vamp or whatever you call it, or the over top pieces, the quarters, lay. I'll be brain farting left and right, folks. But yeah, we got this, the stitching that everybody likes to look at. The pull tab, which I don't necessarily think is necessary on a shorter boot, but we still have the fully gusseted tongue. And instead of black laces, we still have the standard leather laces, which I'll probably replace. Here's these. They give you the flat bottom kilties instead of the jagged edged ones. I like the Packer ones a little better than the regular ones. These are the regular ones in my Packer boots, but I have the other pair somewhere. Yeah, those are all the same. All three of these boots have the same kilties. Okay. Well, if you want to look at Packer kilties, you can probably find them on their website. But this obviously is, to protect the gusset from the laces and the jagged edges of the hardware and all that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a little bit of a scrape there. As with many sale items, I don't know if they were returns or not. Somebody else may have tried on before, but they don't look too creased or anything. And I don't know if they're my size, and I'm wearing absolutely the wrong socks for this. But we'll see how it goes if I can get my foot on it. Yeah, that's a good fit. Lucky me. Again, it's not the same exact last. I don't know the number. I'm pretty sure it's on the box that I threw way over here. No, it's not on the box. Just a 6-inch. Oh well, it does say 67. I don't know if that's related to the last or just the stock number or whatever. So the other one, the new stickers, they came out with the new stickers. I saw another day, so that's how I knew there were new stickers around. So there's that. And they did start putting stuff in plastic bags, which is a nice touch compared to some of the competition. And then here's my little tub of grease that especially Chrome XL, I don't think needs conditioning very much or very soon or whatever. Some of the boots, they say, oh, condition them anyway just to help break them in, but I never do. I haven't had that much of a problem. I think these Builder Pros might be still doing okay. These might be a little dry. I might want to use it on those instead. Because I keep meaning to wear these and I keep not wearing them because it's, like almost 100 degrees already. So I don't really want to lace up 10-inch leather monsters right now. These might get a little wear, although I didn't buy these to be summer boots because I don't wear a lot of stuff that goes with black in summer either. So just a little bit of shine there. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. Try not to get it all shiny so you can actually see what's going on. But definitely, like I said, a slightly different heel style than the loggers and the service boots and whatnot, but almost the same heel as similar to the White's boot. But the White's boot having the same outsole or more similar to the, again, the Roseanne Balloon. I can juggle these things. Yeah. So here they did the mini lugs with the big cowboy heel. So hence the slightly different size to accommodate the slightly different shape or whatever. Whereas this is the Vibram all the way round. So we can see if any stitching looks wonky. There's a little bit of wonky. Wrong one. Maybe a little bit of wonky, but not. And a little bit of glue or something back here. There's some gunk up in there. Yeah, no big deal. Obviously, that's going to be touching the street more than my feet. This one's a little bit cleaner. Oh. And then, of course, brass hardware, which someone was pointing out, less electrical hazard with the brass type of thing and the leather shank instead of a steel shank. But I'm not an electrician, so not really too worried about it. Oh, I lost a viewer again. And, of course, the inside has the little half sock liner. I've requested sock liners to go full before and been ignored every single time, even when I am doing MTO. So there's no stamping or anything. It's a cut top, so there's no coded words or anything on the inside of this that I can see. And of course, it's Chrome Excel, so the leather is not struck through, so it's just a pale hide suede color on the inside. And that one blurry. Okay, it'll come back. So this one, same thing. Nix tag and a gusset. And of course, this was the one I was holding up first. And no creases yet here. But a little there, but I don't think that's from where anyone tried it on. But there does look like they might have been laced or something damaged there. So maybe somebody tried them on, didn't like the fit. Not sure. They look pretty close to new to me. And the other one. Oh yeah, if I can get my foot in it. A little bit tricky with the gusset there, but I see. I think okay, maybe they didn't like the way these quarters were lining up, because there seems to be kind of a weird bubble or something where I'm putting my foot in. Where I think maybe these don't cinch up as much as the guy wanted or something. Not sure. Oh yeah, okay. This one is sloping. Everything's backwards with the camera. Sloping down at that angle, as you can see. This one, it's sharper. It's more, it looks like it's almost a 90-degree bend. And so I think both of them do that. So I don't know how they're going to be to lace them up. Or if that's why they were discounted, even though they weren't discounted like that much. Because with tax, it was still like $600, but with free shipping was nice. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to gather. I don't know how that's going to lace. I don't know if that's exactly symmetrical to the outside. No. This outside one is more pronounced of an issue than the gentle slope, maybe. Yeah, the boots aren't cut exactly symmetrical. However, that's going to work out. So you need to check for things like this, but again, without lacing them up, I can't say if it's going to really affect the wear or not. And this It's not terribly thick. I usually don't wear it with the kiltie initially to break it in. Sometimes that can add all that extra bulk and whatnot, but I don't want to damage the gusset too much either. But what I was going to address was, you know, I can get a boot in Chrome XL similar to this for, you know, half the price or whatever, but then I can't get that arch support. And that's the one thing where they have you over a barrel, because there's literally less than a handful of companies that make boots with this kind of arch support. And like I said, I paid about the same amount for these used, although they look a little less. I can't, like I said, I don't know about the front of that. Obviously, I haven't had an issue, but these are technically the wrong size and they fit great. These I sized, you know, according to Nick's sizing recommendations, and they seem like they'll fit pretty well. Also, although this one might be a little narrow, might need to break in a little bit more because I was feeling my foot a little compressed. But I had the same issue with the Thursday ones, and I wear them and they're fine. But of course, they're not quite as thick as this leather. I don't know if you can see that. So it's still a decent thickness, I suppose, for the price. Because here you got the lined leather, and here you have unlined. So you can see the Chrome XL is still a decent thickness, more than a similar Thursday leather, but not. Well, this has the double row at the top, so really it should be pretty similar. If you take away, you know, the fact that this is an overlay and just go straight to the leather, yeah, it's about the same. It just doesn't have the shiny finish. It has the matte. So that's that. So like I said, until I get a chance to, you know, tie them up and go on carpet a bit, because I can't really do anything in this floor. So yeah, they're not a perfect pair. So, some kind of weird anomalies, however slight. I'm not sure, like I said, how they're going to feel when they're laced up. I'm definitely not wearing the correct socks. Although I don't typically wear super thick socks with the boots. I'm not wearing socks that go above my ankles right now. And then, you know, like messy spots like this, that's kind of minor. I could always take a black marker and go over that and hide it a little bit better. But Chrome XL is not exactly the same, you know, technically as T-Core, but I think it is still T-Core. So I expect that once this stuff scrapes off, that you get basically the same result as what, you know, we're supposed to be getting with these when they're worn in more. This just had a darker, but how much of this is from my socks and sweat or whatever that it's not as light. If I can get the, there you go. If you can see the natural color without the too much glare. It's a little bit darker than what's going on in here, but again, I don't know if they were always that dark when they came like that. Excuse me. Starting to sweat, but I'm almost done. Yeah, as always, I don't know if you have any questions. You can leave them in the comments. I did activate the Buy Me a Coffee feature if you're feeling generous. And of course, did I say already that I might have enough for another boycott Tinder video, but I had been putting that off and doing this one instead. So, because you all love my boot content usually, but I don't know if you're going to be interested in this particular model of boot or not. Like I said, I don't know what all the exact differences are. This obviously has a Celastic or something in the toe. It's not probably steel. I don't think it would be this narrow of a toe if it were a steel toe. the natural stack leather instead of blackout and contrasting thread, which on this boot I think looks kind of dumb. I think I would have gone with a black thread instead of a white, even with the natural. And that's I guess something else I could take a Sharpie and color over if I really, really wanted to. But it usually darkens up with wear and turns gray pretty quickly. So not that worried about it. But some people really like high contrast stuff. I don't mind high contrast stuff, but it just depends on how it's done. Like I said, this is an MTO, so I didn't have any choice in any of it. It just came how it came. And like I said, I got to figure out if they're going to, really fit when I try them on. And actually try. So whenever that might be, later this week or next week, who knows? Definitely not today because it is definitely very warm outside. So with that, I will sign off. You can always go back and watch the previous episodes and things and let me know.